So we have had two different race winners in the first two races in this TNR Group 5 Championship at Sakitto so far, and they've been in the hands of Oz Phillips in the BMW and Graham in the Porsche. This time we've got Coops lining up on pole. He's been struggling a bit with these cars, not enjoying them perhaps as much as I thought he would, but he's still got a good turn of pace, so let's see what he can manage from the front row of the grid from pole. Chrysler lines up alongside. He's had some really good results so far today, so I'm intrigued to see if he can get a decent finish in this one. Is it possible he might finish on the podium? Who knows? We've got Mark in third in the Ford. He'll be itching for a podium, maybe a win. And I just want to see who's going to get off the line best here. Got Dudes in fourth and Porsche just in the foreground of the image there. It's actually Chrysler makes a really good start. Mark's making a good start in the Ford, but I don't know if he's going to have an opportunity down into turn one. Coops leads, maintains the lead. Chrysler in second, so it's BMW, Ford, as we've got Mark maintains third position, tries to go around the outside of Chrysler. I think he's going to do it. Great move and great opportunistic move from Graham. Graham's come out of nowhere. I thought that was Dude's Porsche. Graham's in third place already, but he's got Mark ahead. Mark's not going to make this easy for him. Great to see Coops in the lead as well, having struggled a bit, and it'd be really good, wouldn't it, to have Coops or Mark win this race. Neither of them having won so far today, and both having struggled a little bit in their own ways. But Graham is looking absolutely ominous. Where's Oz at the moment? He's in sixth place. So he's in that next queue of cars, runs into Chrysler. That was a little bit harsh, but I'm sure not intentional. He almost does it again, cuts the corner a little bit, but I think he's going to make up the position. Lee is in fourth position, having changed car colour just to fucking confuse me. That's helpful, isn't it? Cheers, Lee. Good driving so far from Lee. Oz is into fifth after that little debacle. There's big contact there between Sam and who's in that other Ford? That was Bingham, wasn't it? So Dom is going to get past those guys, moves up to fifth place. The perennial upper midfielder finish that Dom is so far this season. He's looking like he's going to get another decent position. Graham's taken the lead though. Apologies for this, I've just completely missed all of this. Coops and Mark side by side for second place. Mark's going to get swept through in the Ford, but I don't think he's going to have the pace to go on the attack of the leading car, that being the Porsche of Graham. Graham looking absolutely and phenomenally dominant at this stage. But this is early days, this is the first race of the season, so let's not get run away with it too much. Lee is in fourth position though in the black, red and white now Ford car. We'll be having words about that, Lee, confusing the hell out of me. I thought you were Dubs. Dubs actually incidentally down in last place at the moment, struggling again. Dom and Oz having a good little battle there. Oz nerfs into the back. It's a fairly gentle tap. He backs off obviously as soon as he realises he's making contact, which is good to see. But yeah, he's away down at the moment. He'll be frustrated, I think, to see Graham out in the lead at the moment. So we've got Bingham. Bingham spins though, goes into the gravel. That was all on his own, unfortunately. And I'll tell you what, it is good to see Andy having a good run so far in this race. He's now getting past Sam, and he moved into seventh place in the Nissan. So let's have a little watch of the old Nissan. It's not particularly quick down the straight though, is it? Because he had a good overlap over the BMW and then lost out. There's a little bit of contact between the boys. Great battle, but Sam gets partly spun, recovers now. I think that was just unfortunately hard racing. I wouldn't say Andy was being particularly ambitious or obnoxious, as some may call him, into that corner, but they've come out of it okay anyway. Well, obviously not so much Sam, who's now spun back down to the last place, but that is a bit unfortunate. Sam was brave to go around the outside and it did not pay off. Mark, meanwhile, is trying to put Graham under pressure. He's staying around a second difference, but messes it up, goes through the gravel. Not the first car we've seen do that. Almost hits the tyre wall. Great recovery there, Mark. I don't think I've ever seen someone get so close to disaster and just avert it. Coops is going to be catching back up with you though, although he's got Lee on his tail as well. So we've got good battles throughout. Three different cars in the top three positions once more, with Porsche leading BMW, leading Ford leading BMW, and then Ford again in 4th with Lee. Oz is 5th now, quite a lonely 5th, but recovering well. Anyway, he's got up and past Dom. Here's Dubs and Andy. So Dubs actually having a great recovery, because Dubs was all the way down in last place on first lap. I don't think he's had the best luck of the grid draws today, to be fair to Dubs, and neither's Andy. I haven't seen either of those cars right in front, so they've really not had the luck this time. Surely the boys are going to bring home some points, and that would be really good, especially Andy in the Nissan, who's yet to score anything. Chrysler is down in 9th, so not quite what I would have hoped for Chrysler, but this has been quite a frenetic race, and it is a good battle still all the way through the field, because here we've got Chrysler, Dukes, Bingham and Sam all fighting over 9th place. So there's points to be had. 2 of those cars are going to finish in them, 2 of them won't. So let's wait and see what happens. Lee, meanwhile, putting Coops under some pressure as we head down towards turn 1. He's going to go for the inside manoeuvre. He keeps it tidy though, no touching. Excellent driving from Lee, because it's so easy when you're on the edge there. And he does take the position, moves up to 3rd. It's a podium position now, in potential at least for Lee. Mark is falling quite a bit off of Graham's pace now, unfortunately. That Porsche having some real substantial and prodigious speed, but that's just is what it is. Mark was in the best car last season, and did finish runner-up. Couldn't quite match Graham this time. He's got a different challenge because they are not in the same car, and that Porsche is proven to be very, very good indeed. There's Coops having another moment, but just about holding it together. He remains 4th at the moment, but Oz, who's been driving phenomenally, is closing on these boys, and he could well be in with a shout at that 4th place, maybe even a podium if the guys come back towards him. Still a raging battle over this 9th place and over 11th place, so Dudes is at the head of that at the moment, just ahead of Bingham. Then we've got Chrysler and Sam fighting over 11th place, so just outside the points. But great to see Dubs having a far better run in this race. Let's see if he's pulled together a decent lap this time. So the people on the pace, it wasn't a particularly pacey lap actually. Mark by far the quickest forward, well a fair chunk quicker should we say, did a 14.9. Not quite as fast as Graham's 14.6 that was achieved in the Porsche last time around. I think the Porsche can go quicker than that as well. Anywho, heading back down the field, it's still a very good battle between Chrysler and Sam, and I can't tell who, sorry, it's between Chrysler and Bingham rather, and then Sam just behind them. So there is still a good battle going on over basically the final points. Bingham's getting away with it at the moment. He deserves a point. Go on boys, let him have it. He's had a fair bit of bad luck so far today, but I wouldn't say there's too much wrong with his pace. I think he's a decent driver. It'd be nice to see him get some good results as we go further into the season. This man's not having that problem though. He's well out in the lead, 5 seconds up the road ahead of Ford, ahead of 2 Fords even. Hoops is 4th, Oz is 5th, and there's just not a lot of movement in this race at the moment. There is not too much freneticism happening, but Dukes and Andy having a bit of a battle on track, I suppose, over 8th place. So we've got the Porsche versus the Nissan. Now, nobody chose this particular Nissan, the Skyline, in the last season. We did. Andy seems to be a prolific supporter of the Nissan / Datsun brand, because he did run a Nissan last year, but that was a behemoth of a car with a cracker of an engine, but tyres were wrecked after no time at all, and it never really delivered results. It just got 1 podium throughout the whole season. Bearing in mind the grids were a lot smaller than they are here. Look how careful the boys are having to be. The tyres don't last on these things, and they have such a high amount of power. It looks like they're barely moving at all when it comes to the corners. and then they put their foot down the straight. I hope the car stays in a straight line, and they absolutely fly at that point. Look, it's just teetering, softly bounce over the curbs. There's nothing sporty about that, is there? But then look at the speed, 110, 130, 140, 150. And then as we head down towards the end of the straight, what we're going to do in this Porsche, well, we're almost 180 miles per hour there. So this is pretty quality stuff. And a good mix of racing going on. Still got Bingham and Chrysler and Sam fighting over this final point. And they're all doing a really decent job of racing. It's nice to see good racing throughout the field, all the way through, even outside of the points. Lee and Mark battling for that second place now, really, because Lee's closing in his Ford. And we'll see what kind of speeds we hit in these. Well, they're not the quickest, are they? Not even as quick as BMW, but just a touch under 170. And that was probably with a bit of slipstream as well. Andy has dropped behind Doug, so Doug's up to 8th place in the Porsche, and it's now a case of can Bingham catch and pass Andy's stricken Nissan, which seems to be struggling more and more as the race goes on. Lights on as always with Andy. He struggles to race with the lights off. His eyesight is horrendous. Not quite sure why he's driving the race car. Let's go and have a look at Bingham on board in the Ford on camera, and yeah, 160. Yeah, so his car is actually not set up with even as much straight line as the other Ford boys. But Graham's still out in the lead, and we are on the final lap. I'm afraid, boys and girls, this has been, apart from the first lap or so, a much more tame race than we had in the first two. Graham comes across the line, he wins second race of the day, so he's won races 2 and 3. Mark is going to get second place in the Ford. Really good job from Mark, held it together beautifully. Lee gets a good result as well, well done Lee, third place in the Ford. Coops is going to be fourth. I think he'll be quite chuffed with that. He's been struggling with pace, struggling with the drivability of the car, and Oz a very lonely fifth, but he's had a great start to the championship, really good. He'll be, I'm sure, second place in the championship overall. Dom comes across the line in 6th. He's just loved those upper midfield finishes today, but I suppose 6th is very much midfield. Dubs gets some good points on the board, so well done Dubs, because he's not been at one with that car, I don't think, in the first 2 races. Dudes is going to get another good result in the Porsche in 8th place, and Andy brings home the first points of the season with Nissan, 2 points for 9th. And Chrysler gets yet another point. That's 3 points finishes from Chrysler today. Excellent stuff. Bingham unfortunately just missed out because Chrysler's managed to get past him. And the final finisher, Sam. And we'll be back next week for more.